This is my petition. Frank Henson, English teacher. I want to tell you about the way I live my life. I want to tell you that. How it celebrates wonder, hurts sometimes, sweetly, and it's brought me friends that are 150, 600, 1,000 years old. So, can I tell you about that? Can I tell you about that? Yeah! Okay, see, you have to invite me in, right? You have to invite me in. You guys are beautiful. Thank you, friends. How beautiful? Gorgeous. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. Now listen to the way the tone changes. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Shakespeare. Shakespeare knew poetry is eternal. Long after Facebook and Twitter are gone, there will still be poetry. I live the poetic life. Now notice I didn't say I'm a poet. I live the poetic life because I long ago recognized that there are moments, feelings, and experiences that ordinary discourse cannot accommodate. Small cracks in the units of time that we call living. Only poetry can do that. The shh, shh of a hand plane taking shavings on Walnut. The loneliness on the coursing concourse of Grand Central Terminal. The look, a glance that a field of corn just gave me. I'll never forget where I was when poetry first spoke to me. I was a sophomore. I walked into my English class, and the teacher walked in, produced this small, thin gray volume, and he began. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient, etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust house restaurants with oyster shells. Streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. Now, when he spoke those lines, it's the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, and this is the same thin gray volume. I heard a voice talking to me in those lines, and it seemed to be talking about some sort of secret that I felt like I needed to know. And I so clearly heard Eliot's invitation. Oh, do not ask, what is it? Let us go and make our visit. But to live the poetic life, you have to have your antenna up. And I worry about that for you guys. I think it's difficult for you because you have that paper due on Friday. And you have a travel game tonight. And next week there's the AP exams. And then the SATs after that. And your phone is blowing up with Instagram. And you got to binge on the new season of Stranger Things to catch up. Right? So will you be Sisyphus, just pushing the academic rock up the mountain? Or will you be able to notice the zoom of life, to appreciate the essence? Has anyone seen the boy who used to come here? Round-faced troublemaker, quick to find a joke, slow to be serious. Red shirt, sly, strong-muscled, perfect coordination, with things always in his pocket. Reed flute, worn pick, polished and ready for his talent. You know that one. Have you heard stories about him? Pharaoh and the whole Egyptian world collapsed for such a Joseph. I would gladly spend years getting word of him, even third or fourth hand. That's the 13th century poet Rumi. Okay? Rumi knew that your life can be enriched by just recognizing the spirit in someone. Only poetry can do that. What that poem says about life and humanity may be just worth as same as your grades, maybe worth just as much as your grades. But to live the poetic life, you need to get poetry to talk to you. Okay, like Eliot did to me. All the voices in poetry, there are so many, standing still on the quicksand of language. I celebrate myself and sing myself. And what I assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me as well belongs to you. That's the democracy of Whitman. The secrets of Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. Now listen to the way the tone changes. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Or you have Gertrude Stein's exploration of language. If I told him, would he like it? Would he like it if I told him? Would he like it? Would Napoleon? Would he like it if I told him? If I told him, would he like it if I told him? Would Napoleon? Now. Not now. And now. Now. Exactly as kings. Feeling full for it. Exactitude as kings. Or the music of Dylan Thomas. Over Sir John's Hill, the hawk on fire hangs still. In a hoisted cloud at drop of dusk, he pulls to his eyes and the rays, the gallows of the small birds of the bay, and the shrill child's play, wars of the sparrows and such, who swan sing dusk in wrangling hedges. And speaking of music, music understands it too, the Beatles, right? Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Or Bob Dylan. Far between sundown's finish and midnight's broken toll, we ducked inside the doorways, thunder went crashing. So they understood it too. Suppose I tell you that poetry can make your life better. Suppose I tell you that poetry can save your life. A recent study by Princeton found that poetry relaxes hypertension by 60%. I just made that up. Fake news. Poetry is emotional photography. It captures emotional experience. And you, as you march towards academic excellence and exacting standards and a good college, I worry that you may be missing those moments that feed your heart, your mind, and your soul. Poetry is not just a form of literature. It is a behavior. And of course, there's one thing that poetry does really well, and that's love. When I heard at the close of the day how my name had been received with plaudits in the Capitol, still, it was not a happy night for me that followed. And else, when I caroused or when my plans were accomplished, still, I was not happy. But the day when I rose at dawn from the bed of perfect health, refreshed, singing, inhaling the ripe breath of autumn, when I saw the full moon in the west grow pale and disappear in the morning light, when I wandered over the beach and undressing, bathed, laughing in the cool waters and saw the sunrise, and when I thought how my dear friend, my lover, was on his way coming, oh, then I was happy. Oh, then each breath tasted sweeter, and all that day my food nourished me more, and the beautiful day passed well. And the next came with equal joy, and with the next, at evening, came my friend. And that night, when all was still, I heard the waters roll slowly, continuously up the shores. I heard the hissing and rustle of liquid and sands as directed to me, whispering to congratulate me. For the one I love most lay sleeping by me, under the same cover, in the cool night, in the stillness, in the autumn moonbeams. His face was inclined toward me, and his arm lay lightly around my breast. And that night I was happy. See, Whitman knew priorities. When I heard that my name had been received with plaudits in the nation's capital, still I was not happy. So the poetic life, it's important to stop and recognize how precious and rare and mysterious life is, and only poetry can do that. Take the time to listen to the wavelength. It takes courage. As Leonard Cohen sings, there's a crack in everything, and that's what lets the light in. So, if you could join along with me, say after me, okay? Welcome, Walt.
Welcome, Walt.
Let's do that again. Welcome, Walt.
Welcome, Walt.
Welcome, Emily.
Welcome, Emily.
Okay, now don't say this, okay? Don't say this. I got to go to class now. Just listen to the silence and see what it says to you. Thank you.